Ys Memories of Celceta, originally released on the PlayStation Vita back in 2012, it was a full remake and replacement of the PC Engine and SNES original title, which was Ys 4, The Dawn of Ys, and there was a different one as well. They both coincided around the same time. However, the plots of both games, even though they lined up at points, they also diverged also. And do keep in mind that, effectively, Memories of Celceta is a full reboot of Ys 4, which has a tie-in after the events of Ys 2, yet it does happen before the events of Ys the Oath in Felghana. Just remember that none of these games run in chronological order all the time. Now, when it comes to Adol's adventure in this episode, Adol kicks off this one by him walking into the frontier town of Kasanova, of which he eventually bumps into a passerby and then collapses with no clue of who he is or what led him there. Eventually, Adol is accompanied by an information broker named Duran. Adol is hired to chart the great forest of Celceta. It turns out that the forest is not unfamiliar to him at all, as people who he encounters instantly recognize him, primarily for the worse, of which means the inhabitants of Celceta are blaming him for all of the misfortunes that are befalling them, thus leading to Adol attempting to clear his name and win the trust of the people. Now, given the status of this game as an intended reboot, Ys Memories of Celceta is isolated from the series intentionally, so that it doesn't need previous knowledge of the franchise in that sense. Adol's amnesia serves the purpose well, and the player is literally put in his shoes, equally baffled by everything that he encounters. Though a protagonist is destined to save the world is a very common trope in many forms of media, it is truly everything that surrounds Adol in this adventure that truly helps make this experience really stand out. And you're engulfed in such a plethora of cultures from both the past and the present that serve to all come together to present the player with such richness of lore that it makes the mandatory exploring such a godsend to do. Oftentimes, games will hit snags when it comes to exploration, gameplay, story, and etc. However, in Memories of Celceta, I never once experienced such a problem, and I only wanted to keep playing the game to make it to the next frontier. Now, if you've played any of the more modern Ys games from Oath in Felghana, Ark of Nephishtim, Origins 7, or even the latest one being Lacrimosa of Dana, then you know what to expect here gameplay wise, as you won't have the bump mechanics of 1 and 2, but you will be able to swing your sword and dodge at the last moment, and you have access to skills of which you can use to obliterate your enemies. But unlike Lacrimosa of Dana, there is no jump button here, as well as there not being any way to control the camera beyond what it is statically. However, you are able to dodge in any direction, and if you want to get around faster, then I suggest repeatedly tapping the dodge button, as Adol and company will leap, then go into a roll animation. So like any of the other Ys games, you gain experience from combat, which allows you to gain new abilities called skills, of which you can equip to be able to use in battle to dish out extra damage, and if you tie them into a combo that you're performing, then you'll be able to lay the smackdown on any jabroni or foe, or however you want to put it. I like to say jabroni. I like to emulate The Rock. It's a Samoan thing. Don't mind that. Or any foe who dares to oppose you. And in the vein of Ys 7 and Lacrimosa of Dana, there is a bit of a rock, paper, and scissors style system in place of the form of slash, pierce, and strike, which basically means that certain attacks from certain party members will do more damage or will do less damage depending on the type of enemy that it is and what they are weak to. Adol, for instance, is a slash style character who is most well balanced across all of his attacks, whereas Duran is a melee style fighter who uses hand-to-hand combat, which leads to his attacks being in the strike category. Now graphically, you're probably wondering what's going on here. Now graphically, the game does show its Vita roots and how some of the models look. However, unlike other reviewers that have complained, this simply does not bother me at all, as I love the art style of the Ys series and of how Nihon Falcom decided to go with their character models in this game and other Ys games. To me, the graphics are fine, even if at times they appear simplistic. Now do keep in mind that this was originally made for the Vita back in 2012, so there were graphical limitations that this game was made within. You know, the PC port does allow you to run the game anywhere from 720p all the way up to 4K at 60 frames per second, which is simply a marvel to look at, and man, does it run so much better than the original Vita version by a long shot. Now musically, I find the soundtrack to be quite stellar, with many upbeat rocking tunes that get you in the mood to kick some ass and slay some beasts. The opening theme by Yukihiro Jindo and Falcon sound team JDK, The Foliage, Ocean, and Celceta, is so atmospheric in my opinion, gearing you up for this grand adventure. Whereas when you're in the field, I find the synth and rock theme of Burning Sword just gets you set to slay, and then for a more mellow tune when you're in the town of Kazanin, you get treated to the theme of Frontier Town Kazanin, aka Prologue, which is equal parts campy and upbeat yet catchy. The OST is simply amazing through and through, which is simply a staple of the Ys franchise since the 80s, and has not let up in its 30-year legacy even in this installment. Yes, I simply gush at the soundtrack of the Ys series. Now when it comes to length, the game runs its course in about 20 or so hours, and while it isn't the longest game in the Ys franchise, it never overstays its welcome, and if you want to pump out an additional 7 to 10 hours, then you can by completing all of the side missions and side stories to the game. Now, at this point, you may be wondering if Ys Memories of Celceta is worth the buy, and honestly, that's a resounding yes. This game is simply too good to pass up, you know, from the story falling off of Ys Books 2, or aka Ys 2, to the gameplay, to the sheer amount of content and things that there is to do in this game, to the most important being the OST, which is glorious. I simply cannot recommend this game enough, and whether you play this on the PlayStation Vita or on Steam, neither choice is a bad one so long as you play this game. However, if you want the definitive experience, then the Steam version is the way to go. Ys Memories of Celceta is most assuredly Kasanova approved. Falcom, can we please get a port of this game to the Nintendo Switch at some point, please? I would greatly love to have this portably at 720p on the go. I'm just saying, I think it would be great. But all in all, this is a fantastic game. Pick it up on Steam. It's about $24.99 at the time of this recording, and you cannot go wrong. That being said, this is Mekel Kasanova. I'm signing out. Hope you have a good one. Catch you in the next one.